That's awesome. Okay, so always make sure you've got some kind of a result that you're focusing on for this week. Always come here ready with that, and make sure you know which of your top 10 strengths have practical strengths in them. All right, okay. And I'm just going to hit record just in case, because you never know. There we go. All right. Okay, thank you, Mona. I appreciate that. Okay, so let's hopefully that works, right? Everybody get to pray. Okay, so let's get to this. So what we're talking about today in the roundtable is the practical strengths. And for those of you that are here live, you know which of your top 10 are practical. And what I'm going to tell you right now is how they work. Why do I call them practical? What is the point of all this? And how can you use them to get results faster? And of course, you always want to focus on a result. So the first thing with practical strengths is, just so you know, everything I talk about strengths is not what Gallup teaches. It's not that what they're doing is wrong or what I'm doing is right or whatever. It's just different, right? We are all infinitely unique, and we should all be doing things in a way that is alignment with what we see every day. And that's what I do. I do things the way I see them. And it helps people get results with strengths faster. And the practical strengths are strengths that when we're using them, they're clear and obvious, right? I'll give you an example. Let's talk about an energetic strength like belief. Okay, does anybody here have belief in their top 10? Maybe a couple of you. Okay. So when you have belief high, if someone says, I have the belief strength, if you don't really know what that strength is, people would say, okay, well, what does that mean? Right? It it doesn't have a specific meaning. It has a unique meaning for everyone. It's a very flowy kind of energy kind of strength. And what that means is that when a person has belief, it has a lot of meanings that really are different for everyone. Whereas you look at a strength like achiever. Okay, does anybody here have achiever in their top 10? Nope. One, Michael? Okay. So achiever is a strength that you can see. Did you achieve? Did you finish? It means to start something and to finish it, right? And of course, there's some nuances inside of there, but the essence of the achiever strength is saying, where am I? Where do I want to go? What are the benchmarks to get there? And they're completed. And everybody understands what I mean when I say that, right? It's a very measurable, obvious thing. And so that's the balance between these two strengths. You want to understand which ones begin better with practical or energetic so you can kind of get an idea of where you start off better. When a person has a practical strength in their top 10, there's one thing you got to do, or else you will not be able to access the value of the strength. So let's talk about achiever again as an example. If you have achiever high, then what you do is say, okay, well, here's where I am. And here's where I want to be to finish something, right? Cross the finish line. And then there's benchmarks along the way to accomplish that. There's one thing that if you don't do this one thing, then you're not going to actually accomplish those things. And it's about managing controllables. Okay. So when a person has a practical strength or abundance of practical strengths, like 7, right? Then everything they do must begin with making sure that you're clear about what are the controllables. All right, so let's talk about achiever again. When a person says, all right, here's where I am, here's where I want to go, and here are the things I want to accomplish, unfortunately, there are always other people involved. And other people have opinions. Other people have a say sometimes. Sometimes other people are required to do things in order for you to accomplish those things, right, Michael? Yeah. Right. It's impossible for us to say, I'm going to achieve this thing, and it has nothing to do or with anyone else. It's not a thing. Everything always hinges on what other people think or feel or do or don't do. Not everyone, but there's always someone. And because there's always someone, then there's a certain amount of uncontrollables in the achieving of the benchmarks. Everyone follow so far? So what happens is when the achiever, for example, starts to get involved in those non-controllables and tries to make those non-controllables controllable, that achiever isn't going anywhere. Nowhere, right? Let's take one more further and say, well, the conditions need to be right in order to achieve. The weather has to be right. The stock market has to be right. The social media has to be right. The platform has to be right. The internet has to be right. Right? The weather has to be right. Traffic has to be right. The gas prices have to be right. All the non-controllables that are not even controllable by other people, only by God. Right? And so when the achiever starts to get involved in those non-controllables, once again, they move even slower. The achieving of the thing becomes even less possible. In fact, has now become impossible because the achiever has gotten involved in the non-controllables, like what other people are thinking or feeling or doing or not doing and creating. And then what is God doing? Is God doing his part? I prayed. Why isn't he bringing it to me? Et cetera, et cetera. Right? And so the basis line of this concept is that the practical strengths are based on whether or not you stay in what is 100% controllable. And that is only four things: what you think, what you are feeling, what you're doing, and what you're creating. You can only control those things. So you can bring the right attitude, you can bring the right energy, you can bring the right emotion, you can bring the right actions, and you can bring the right results that you have direct control over. But you can't control everything else. You can only influence them, right? So when the achiever spends all their time in the controllables, they become more influential of those people that would impact whether or not they would move. So then in that situation, the achiever says, I don't need you to move, but I will influence you to move, because that's what achievers do. Achievers are pace setters, right? Think of it like in the wild. Like, I'm going to use a crazy dinosaur example. When the gallimimus, they look like ostriches, are out in the field just eating. And when one gallimimus notices there's a T-Rex coming, that gallimimus takes off and becomes the pace setter for the other gallimimus, right? And all of a sudden, everyone's running as fast as that one, right? Because if you're out running, if you're trying to get away from a T-Rex, you don't have to beat the T-Rex, right? You just have to beat the slowest gallimimus, right? That's it. And so that's what pace setting is, right? So achievers become influential because now everyone's trying to beat the slowest one. And that's how it works. So when you do that as an achiever, then you start to see movement. And then the achiever can't control what God does, but achievers can pray. Achiever can practically partner with God and say, God, what do you want me to achieve? What do you want me to do? How do you want me to process? How do you want me to move forward? What are my steps that you see for me? What is the finish line that you see for me? And so when the achiever partners with God, influences others, and focuses on the controllable, which is their thinking, their feeling, their doing, and their creating, boom, 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 benchmarks start getting achieved, finish lines being crossed, new finish lines being revealed, new benchmarks being achieved, but only 100% of the time. And the way this works is for the practical strengths to focus only on what is 100% controllable. So the action items are, when you're looking to accomplish something and you want to get 100% access to your strengths, write down the non-controllables first. What does God have control over? All the circumstances and the conditions. Write them all down. God controls all of that. So I'm going to express gratitude for that to be in alignment with what he wants me to do. Then I'm going to write down all the other things that I don't have control over. Everyone else is thinking, oh, they're going to think this or they're going to think that. Write that down. Oh, they're going to feel this or they're not going to feel that. Write that down. They're going to do this or they're not going to do that. Write that down. They're going to create this or they're not going to create that. Write that down. So now that you've got all the non-controllables out of the way, the only thing that's left is what you can control. So you throw that list out and you make your list. This is your controllable. What is it you need to accomplish with this result? And that is the only thing that should be on your list, not anyone else's opinions or beliefs. And it's important. I'll finish with this. It's important that if you don't do this one thing, then you're not going to be able to get full access to this. It's this. It's acknowledge everything that is not in your control. Anything you leave off that list will subconsciously make its way onto your actual to-do list. Even if you haven't written it down, it'll be there subconsciously and it will stop you. right? So we got to get all that stuff on the table. So think about the thing you want to accomplish. What's not controllable? What is God's part? What is not other people's thoughts and feelings and actions and whatever? Now we'll know that what that is. So now that's all that's left is for what we need to do in our action items. So let's practice this. Let's see how this works. So what I want you to do is focus on a result that you want to see happen this week. Start getting clear about what's a non-controllable. And then what I want you to do is pick any one of your practical top 10 strengths. And let's use your strength as an example. Before we do this, if y'all have any questions, now is a good time.
I have a question, please.
Go for it.
So, in some of my past lives, I've been product manager, and a part of that was to get people to do things that you have no control over, no direct lines to get things done for you in order to get
Yeah.
everything else to happen. So I was listening to you closely when you were talking about that. So when you're writing down all the non-controllables, does that leave what's left up to you to accomplish?
Good question. So there's what you can accomplish and what you can influence,
Right.
right? So there's what you can accomplish. That's this, right? That's one. It's the first thing. The second thing is what do other people need to think or feel or do for me? And how can I do my part to be of influence to that? And then everything else, which is God, how can I pray, express gratitude for that? Because that's controllable, right? So let's talk about your example of a product manager, right? You can't control what those people are going to do, but you can control how clear you communicate what they're required to do and when they're required to do it by and what it's supposed to look like when it's completed. That you can be 100% in control of. Does that make sense, Michael?
Yeah, I guess it would help to know their strengths as well, because you're going to have to appeal to their strengths so that they get excited about what you're asking them to do.
It can
I
help
guess.
to know what people want to influence them. In the business world, or let's say in the corporate world, the only thing you need to know is that they want to keep their jobs. It's pretty simple. And what I do, I care about what they actually want. I get to care about that. In the corporate world, it's pretty simple. Hey, do you want to keep a job, or do you want to get promoted, or do you want to make sure that tomorrow you have an opportunity to do more, or whatever? What is it you want? So yes, the more you know that they want, the more influential you can become. The benefit of understanding their strengths is you'll understand what they want personally inside of what they want in the corporation. So let's say you got a person who's um, well, what I'm trying to think of something administrative,
Like an engineer.
okay, like an engineer type, right? Somebody who's supposed to be collecting data for the team, right?
Right.
Um, so what do they want? They want to get that job done in a way that honors their desire to what? Right? Whatever their dominant domain is, right? So if they have a lot of relationship building strengths, they want to get their job done so they can connect better with their boss or the people they work with, or maybe even the customers. They want to get their job done if they have a bunch of influential strengths. Maybe they want to move people forward. So if they have three or more influencing strengths, that kind of thing. So when you know that, you can speak to that as the individual. If everyone on the team has their strengths, then you can say, okay, here's our product. This is what we're trying to create or whatever. And this is what needs to be done by when. Now, who here has three or more influencing strengths, right? And then some of them will raise their hand. Okay, who do you want to move forward? Who do you want to move forward? And then you got your other people who has three or more relationship building strengths. Okay, who do you want to connect with? Who do you need to connect with? Who has more than three or more executing strengths? Okay, what is it that you need to make sure is done the right way? And then who's got more of the strategic thinking strengths? Three or more. Okay, what do you need to think and create and learn on? And when you get everybody doing that in a way that honors what they desire, then you are more influential. Yeah, absolutely. And you can control that. You can have them in a room, you can have them all take the strengths assessment, you can walk them through it. You can do that 100%. You can't control that they'll love it. You can't control that they'll do it, but you can inspire them. You can do that. You can influence them. And then you ask God, God, please make the conditions right. Help these people who are scared or fearful or tired or exhausted or maybe don't like this company. Help them to get in line so we can do this together. That's
Yep.
also 100% controllable.
And answers my question.
Yeah. All right. Mona, your hand is up. Go for it.
Thank you. So if I understand correctly, I can influence them to engage with me so that I can influence them around the solution I offer to meet the result they are looking for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Influence, you can do one of two ways. You can find out what they want and inspire them with words or challenge them with your, with your stories or whatever. Or you can just be the example. With practical, it's definitely about being the example. Each and every one of the practical strengths are example based strengths. So, like responsibility, definitely, it's really hard to make people obsessive about doing what they say they're going to do. Some people say, so for some people, it's, not required. So you can inspire them, you can challenge them, you can be the example, but you can't force it. And then sometimes even people just aren't capable. Sometimes people just aren't in the right position. They might not be capable through no fault of their own. They might have all the intentions in the world, but they're just not capable. That's another possibility. So you can find that out though. You can ask, hey, are you capable? That kind of thing. Does that help, Mona? That's controllable, absolutely controllable. Hey, are you capable? Are you able to do that? What is capable? Capable means I have the skill, right? And I am the desire. Some people are just so like I remember, believe this or not, I remember I used to work at Disneyland, and my third year there felt like my very first day because every day is the same. And I remember just being exhausted, like just exhausted. And that was when I quit because I realized, wow, I'm not having fun here. Why am I here? I'm not capable of delivering happiest place on earth service. It's just not capable. You could pay me, but it doesn't mean I'm capable, right? Sometimes people are just jaded or burned out or exhausted. They might have the skill. And maybe if they had the will, they'd be capable, but they don't have the will anymore. Sometimes people are just tired. But you can ask those questions. You can find out.
So how does someone who's dominantly energetic like utilize the practical piece?
So it's a balance. When
Mm,
I say balance, I don't mean 50-50. What I
mm-hmm.
mean is that with a specific, let's say if a person has 9 energetic strengths. Well, do you have someone in mind, Linda? Just maybe we can use an
Well,
example of that.
myself, yeah, I'm 6 energetic.
Oh, okay. Okay. So what's cool about our conversation right now is I'm literally saying forget about those energetic strengths for a minute
Okay.
and just live in the practical aspect of the
Okay.
4 practical ones. But here's what's really cool. Even though you have 6 energetic strengths, the concept of staying in your controllables still applies
Mm-hmm.
in an energetic way, right? Like, for example, if I say, hey, manage your energy,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? That if you think about the word manage, it's a very practical concept,
Mm-hmm.
right? So what does managing your energy look like? Like if I were to ask you, Linda, what are the steps? The visual, measurable, tangible. Look at Linda. She's doing the steps to manage her energy. What would that be for you?
I would spend time at the beginning of the day with God
Okay. So when
before
you
I.
say that, get into the practical. What does it mean to spend time in the beginning of the day with
Mhm.
God? What does that look like if I was watching you? Like, there's Linda, she's with God. What does that mean?
So I get a cup of tea.
Okay.
I read Jesus Calling. Um, I get like the kernels, the nuggets of truth. I create a graphic, share it
Okay.
on Facebook, and that's meaningful to me.
There it is, right? Like a cup of tea, scripture. The other piece got a little grainy there for a minute, but then it was like, oh, create a graphic,
Mm-hmm.
post it on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
step by step. There's a practical aspect of it. And now let's look at your 4 practical strengths. What are they?
They are arranger,
Okay.
uh,
So 1 is a ranger, right? Look at that.
mm,
Coffee, or sorry, tea,
input,
scriptures, right? Tea, scriptures, laptop, Facebook,
input,
graphic, right? What is it, Canva?
Canva, yeah.
Yeah, look at it. So there's arranging those 4 things,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's a ranger. And you said input,
Yeah.
right? Okay. So
Learner.
what is practical about input? Reading a resource and taking
Mm-hmm.
notes.
Mm-hmm.
That's also part of a ranger, right? What's the next one?
Learner.
Right? You're studying, you're internalizing, you're saying, this is for me. And then you're turning it around and you're converting it into a Canva
Mm-hmm.
graphic,
Mm-hmm.
right? Very practical. And then
Mm-hmm.
the last one,
Responsibility.
yes, and it's truthful.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, it's on time, but that's not the main thing of that. It's truthful.
Mm-hmm.
The main thing for you on this is that responsibility is about truth, no fluff, no made up stuff.
Right.
I am following this scripture word for word, and this is the truth of what I'm pulling from it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at your energetic desire, which is to connect with God and be in alignment with God, this
Mm-hmm.
is the practical flip flop of that.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, for you with 6 energetic and 4 practical, that practical piece becomes more effective and efficient when you wake up knowing and believing that that is going to help you get what you want.
Yeah. That's
If you've
that's
ever had, yeah, if you've ever had times where you wake up and like, you know what, I'm just not going to do it today. It's not going to do
mm-hmm.
anything for me. I'm just going to skip today. And there goes the energetic decision is to not get in alignment. Thus, the following of the no practical follow up.
Mm-hmm.
So when somebody has dominantly energetic, everybody, that's how it works. You got to get your energy right so that you can do the practical. But for now, at least you can go, oh, well, what's that? Now I see that's the practical side, the arranger, the learner, the input, and the
Responsibility.
responsibility. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, I just want to get to those strengths so bad. Let's do this. First thing I got to do is believe that this is true, believe that I'm in the right place and the world needs what I'm about to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll bring joy to my life and results.
Yeah.
And so then it's like, okay, but you got to be like, okay, if people see it, great. If they don't, that's fine too.
Mm-hmm.
Letting go of that non-controllable,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? And even the belief that if nobody likes it or comments on it or
Mm-hmm.
or shares it, then let go to belief that nobody saw it, because that's not true either.
Right.
Because that's not controllable.
Mm-hmm.
You can go, oh, what is controllable? Oh, I can go, God, what do you want me to share on my social media page for those that are scrolling
Mm-hmm.
right now,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you just do it. And
Yeah.
God's got that part. And those people, they see it or they don't see it, do something with it, don't do something with it, like it or don't like it, doesn't matter.
Right.
You're in your controllable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does that help?
Yep. That helps. Thank you.
You're welcome. So when you're using a practical strength, it's all about what I can control. And the only things are, just to reiterate, what you're thinking, that's your attitude, your mindset, your vision, what you want to bring, right? Your emotions, and yes, you can manage them. You don't have to bend their will. There are things you can do to get your emotions in alignment, right? Even if you're not getting them in perfect alignment, you're doing things to produce better emotions, we'll say, right? Um, then your actions, you have control over those. What is it you're doing or not doing, right? And those results, when you're in your controllables consistently, will be more in alignment with what you want. Okay, let's get some more thoughts on this, or anybody else want to share their strengths or goals?
I'm almost like Linda. I have 6 energetic and 4 practical. And I
What are
think
your
there's
practicals?
my practicals are Ranger, 4 strategic, 5 um, responsibility, and ideation.
Ooh, let's do strategic, and then we can maybe do ideation later. What is something you're trying to see accomplished this week, Deb?
Uh, Still working on Ranger, getting things in place to create not only the offer, but the system to support that. So it's not a one and done. I can do it weekly. I can
Yeah,
get into some routine, which is not what I like to do.
yeah. So strategic is practical because when you're trying to accomplish something, there is a literal, although there is partially energetic, but there is a literal path, right? So on one side of the paper, you say, here I am with no, what was it? The thing you want to see happen?
I want the system in place to
System.
create the offer,
No
meaning
system,
whether
right?
it's ClickBank or Thrivecart or, whatever, and then getting all my documents in a format they can be fed into the system to be packaged into an offer.
So here's where I am, no system. And then here I am with system, right? And the best way to utilize strategic is reverse engineering.
Yep.
So the reason why I know this is because I can solve any maze 10 times faster if I start from the exit.
I read
You all have to
backwards
try
too.
it.
I
It's
get it.
it's
No, I
so
read
funny.
backwards too, read books backwards. I can read it
Yeah.
forward, but when I go backwards, it's much easier. It sticks.
Okay. For those of you who have ever, I don't think anyone here has done it, but for those of you who've ever sent a long message to someone, sometimes people send me really long messages. When I see long message, I go right to the last line and I read it backwards because it's the last line where they finally got to the point. And then I start to go, okay, here's the point, here's the point, here's the point. All right, this is where the fluff is, and I got it now. So with strategic, it's starting best with the end in mind. My point in this is that the reason why I call it practical is because there are steps between where you are no system and where you want to be with system. And then if you start with like going, okay, well, here's a system and I want the system to be this, 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 and this, then you can go, all right, well, the step before that is this. The step before that is this. The step before that is this. And the step before that is this. And you have now mapped out your practical strategy.
Yep.
And, like any good destination, there's always traffic in some areas, right? There's always delays in others. And there's always people who are not doing things the right way that can slow the process. So let's pretend that, like, here's my destination. I'll use Disneyland since we were talking about that a minute ago. Here's Disneyland, and here's where I live, right? Oh my goodness, it's what time is it? It's 6 a.m. I got to get to Disneyland by 7 a.m. So before I can get to so I can get to the parking lot by 7:30. I've already reverse engineered this whole thing. So what's going to happen between 6 and 7:30? Oh my gosh, so much traffic. And people in Utah drive terribly. And this time of the day, there's so many traffic lights and other people, you got to watch out for them, people trying to get to work, etc. So then you let people do what they're going to do. You try to influence them as best you can by being a good driver, getting to the lane that is right. You know, like we all know, the left lane is the fast lane. So you can drive 5 to 10 miles an hour over on that one, over the speed limit. We all know that, right? And in the slow lane all the way to the right, you never, you don't, that's where you go if you're going to drive the speed limit. That's where I tell people, right? That's where I try to be. So then the next thing is you ask God, God, please make the traffic good, make sure there's no accidents, make sure everyone gets where they need to be safe so we can all get to the thing we need to get to. And so me and my family can get to Disneyland on time. Right. And so that's what we're doing in a practical way. Right. So for you, those other people might be, like in this case, the internet. Oh my gosh, please, internet, work really well for me today. Make sure my laptop is good or my slides are good. Make sure Canva is working right. So I'm getting those slides done properly. Chat GPT, don't fail me and get weird and glitch. Please remember everything I said. Keep notes. and and then be your part. Is this helping, Deb?
Yeah, I can see how to approach it that way.
Strategic is very practical in that way. But then once you have mapped out the destination by reverse engineering, now you're free to bring in an energetic side, right? An energetic side where you start to imagining yourself. This is where you get energetic. You visualize every step working beautifully, everybody falling in line, everyone coming and begging you to launch this thing, saying, take my money now. And God going, yes, Deb, it is time for you to bless others with what I have blessed you with. And now we will part the Red Sea for you, and we will bring customers like crazy to your door. And you will then build such a pipeline that you will be able to take a month, 2 months, 3 months vacation all around the world while your business grows practically and energetically for you. That's the energetic side. Once you've mapped out the practical side, then the energetic is now free to flow.
Okay. Did you want to go into ideation?
Yeah. So ideation is practical because ideation focuses on what's missing, what is not, there, what are you not able to see, and more importantly, I think, what is it that other people are not seeing in the thing that you're trying to help them with? So, Deb, you're trying to help people understand, for example, you're trying to help people understand the value of stress and how stress is good and how you view stress dictates whether or not you get results consistently because stress is inevitable, right? And so with ideation, it's what are the practical things that people are missing that will help them see stress as a good thing. So watch how easy this is going to be, everybody. Deb, tell everybody here, because there's probably people here that are running away when stress reveals itself. And what is one practical thing you could help them understand that they might be missing that would help them start to view stress in a more accepting way? What would that be, Deb?
That would be that in life, things are not going to get easier. They're going to be harder. And it's going to be, doesn't matter how smart you are or what you've accomplished, but if you can't handle stress when it matters most, you could lose everything. And I teach you that you need to prepare. You need to be ready, and it is something that will help you not just get through the tough times, but realize your full potential.
Give us one practical step to prepare for the inevitability of stress.
To be aware of the early signals that you're not going to handle it well, that you're not handling it well.
The early signals.
The early signals, like when your breathing gets affected.
Yeah.
Because the number one thing that happens with people who aren't handling stress well, some people hyperventilate, but the whole point is you throw yourself into a mode that will make really bad choices if you do not get control of your breathing.
Okay. So the first thing is get control of your breathing, right? Get control of your breathing. That is the first step. And so Deb would give you all a very simple step-by-step process to get control of your breathing, probably before you notice the breathing is out of control.
Right. I
And
teach you how
then,
to set it like you turn your phone on and off. There are many ways to breathe, but mine is a reset. Mine's like, okay, it's like the computer today going wonky. What do I need to do? Oh, sometimes I got to change my device.
yeah.
But it's a way to reset so that you can get back in at your best.
One thing I know is that in all achievement that I've experienced, all the, like, if I could say, here are the 5 most like amazing achievements I've ever personally experienced. Each and every one of them was preceded by a massive amount of stress and anxiety. All of them.
Mhm.
And I remember one day kind of going, oh my gosh, if I keep avoiding stress,
Yeah.
what's next, Deb?
If you keep avoiding stress, you will never achieve the goals that you have for your life.
Yes,
Yeah.
there is no way to avoid stress and experience achievement. That's not a thing,
Yeah. And people
right?
are telling other people now what's not working is they're calling it a disease and you have to de-stress. And I'm not going to paint a picture in the middle of combat. It's just not going to happen. When stuff is flying, that's not a practical way to deal with a really intense situation. Or if I'm going on stage to speak, it's not something that I'm going to just stop and look around. You have in 10 seconds, you can reset yourself so that you can be at your best and give the gift of you to the others.
So what we're talking about here is a practical step that has a strategy, and it's also pointing out something that you might have missed that Deb is bringing up, right? That's ideation and strategic right there. So these are practical concepts. And on the other side of that, you'll experience a joy that you didn't even know was possible. I got to tell you all, 10 years ago, if someone said, Eddie, I just came from the future, and what I saw you was proclaim God's word, like I have never seen anybody. And I'm like, I said, what from the stage? I said the word God. Like, how often? Oh, like every other word was God. I'm like, are you kidding? Like, I would be blown away, like, no way. And then they would say, by the way, Eddie, I've never seen you happier. And that would shock me. I'm like, what? Because at that point in time, 10 years ago, I was terrified of that. I had no idea. I didn't even know I was afraid. So I avoided talking about God. I was like, nope, I will never talk about God from the stage. I will never talk about God in my trainings. I will never mention God's word. I'll never mention his name. I won't even mention scripture. I'll just say, this is what it is, and this is what the thing is. And that's it. And going through a process of addressing my own hesitations and fears about proclaiming my faith, the way I look at things here, boy, that was a whole new level of joy I didn't even know was possible. I'm very excited about the future, knowing that if I can overcome that, what else can I do? And I think everybody else is here. We're all in the same boat here, friends. I hope this helps. Michael, well done. Thank you, sir. So, before we wrap up here, what are your takeaways on the practical strengths, the concepts?
Just the value of being able to look at the controllables of, and sometimes it's good to kind of hang your hat on the controllables because even as being high with energetic, I get overwhelmed sometimes by the things I can't control, by all the things that are out there. And having that ability to come back and say, this is what I can control that will set the stage for me to be at the energy that I need to be at to do all the other things that I love and want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today was a very stressful day for me because there's just so much going on a Monday. But just like, Deb was talking about, breathe.
Mm.
And I breathed. I breathed. Is that a better word? Okay. Anyway, I breathed. I took my breaths. I controlled my breaths, and I chose to be happy. I chose to have a good day. I chose to be like, this is going to be a wonderful day. Everything is going to work out the way God wants it to, even if it's not the way I want it. And I got playful with my kids. We got like another 2 weeks before summer is over. My kids are here all the time. And I got playful with them. And I know that, like, normally in the past, if I'm stressed out, I'm so into what I'm worried about that I don't even think about them. And they're looking at dad going, wow, dad is in his own world. Something's wrong with dad. Something's up with dad. Whereas today, I hope that they go, wow, dad was really playful today. Dad was fun today. And I'm like, to me, that's the best self that I want to bring to everything. So what is controllable? Number one. So basically we wrap up this concept. So we look at our practical strengths. Which one is mine? Trying to think of real quick. Significance. There we go. Significance is a practice. No, it's not. It's an energetic. Can't think of one off the top of my head. But anyway, as you can tell, I don't have very many. But for me, the controllable is I can control how I think, I control how I feel, I can control what I do. That means I can control what I create. And I'll welcome everyone else to do their part, and I'll ask God for help. Always. Always. And that is my best solution to anything. And I know it's easy to sit there and go, but Eddie, but what if that's enough? What if that's enough? I just don't believe in that. I believe God has a plan. And as long as we're living our best selves, we are protected one way or another. I've seen too many miracles to think otherwise. So once again, what is the outcome I want to see happen? Right? Oops, hold on. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, so what is the outcome I want to see happen? What is not controllable, right? The conditions, the world around me, right? What are people responsible for? Their thinking, their feelings, their actions, their results. That's them. Also not controllable for me. But then I make a list of what's controllable. And then I follow that list. And I make sure that on my list is only what I can control and not what I can't. I can influence and I can ask God for help. Okay.
So, Eddie, from
Yes.
last week, there's some of those same ones for what we did last week as there is for this week. So, some of these strengths can be on multiple lists. They're not just straight one list and not on another. Is that correct?
There's 6 categories. Excuse me. There's 6 categories, but each strength can only be on 3 of them. And the categories are either energetic or practical. So if they're on the energetic list, they're not going to be on the practical list.
Okay. Where can we find the list?
Inside the community. So you have to get what's called what is it? The business, I always forgot the name of it. So it's the Unleash Your Strengths Community and Business Accelerator Roadmap. It comes with both. So you'd have to have the lifetime access to that.
I do.
Okay, so if you got the lifetime access, you'll see there's a button that says new, N-E-Y, sorry, N-E-W. So N-E-W, new UYS roundtable.
Okay.
So in each stat, you'll see trainings on each and every one of them.
Is there
Judgy,
is there videos in there too?
yes.
Okay, I think because I went through those some last week based on what you did last week.
Yeah. So you'll
But
see an energetic training, practical training, and judgy, accepting internal and external.
okay.
They're
Well,
about as detailed as I can get in about 45 minutes to an hour. So they're not in full, just like today. This is tip of the iceberg. Um, the full training is in my certification program.
I was just looking for the printouts. I don't know. It's where do you find the printouts?
Those would be with the videos. If you look inside of Mighty Networks, you'll see
Okay.
under each video or above each video will be a printout, like a PDF.
Okay. I'm not seeing that. You got the video. Are you ready to move on to the next lesson? Part 2, apply your top strengths and let go of your whatever. And then it's comments.
Hmm. Are you in Mighty Networks?
Yes. And I'm under the new UIS plus bar roundtable recordings.
Perfect. Okay, you're in the right place. Okay, so click on the one that says practical strengths.
Okay, so what I'm seeing is
Wish I was on my computer, then I could do this.
why do I need to know my strengths? March
Controllable.
lead
Controllable. Here we go.
March lead generation challenge.
Okay, so you're going to scroll past that.
Okay, 24 replays, judgy strengths. Okay.
Yeah, keep going. You'll see the. Let's see. I wonder if I can share my screen. Okay, let me see if I can share my screen here on my phone. This could be wild if I can.
Okay, so
Oh.
it's above the video.
Yeah, there you go. You see it.
I see it now.
Yay,
Underneath those
okay.
judges, underneath that one. So I'll get them now. Thank you.
Yeah. So that'll give you the list. And then what that worksheet is, there's a worksheet in there that goes with that video. It doesn't go with today's video because we're not doing that worksheet. So if you go in that worksheet, you'll see that video will teach you how to use that worksheet.
So has it changed? Has the information somewhat changed?
No, I shouldn't.
Okay,
So I'm
so
using what should in here.
it's still the same list of strengths in that worksheet. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, the one I gave you a screenshot of earlier was that worksheet, but
Okay.
we're not working off the worksheet, just a list today.
Okay. But we can
All
go
right.
in there and work off that worksheet.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's really helpful.
Okay. Well, I was working
Yeah,
somewhere
in
else.
there, inside that worksheet too, there's a lot of prompts to pray. There's a lot of prayer prompts in there too. So what is one of your practical strengths, Kelia?
One of my practical strengths. I have input, restorative learner,
Yeah, pick
context,
anyone, just so I'll give you an
creative.
example.
Um,
Oh, let's do restorative.
okay.
That's a great one. Okay, restorative. So with restorative, a prayer, ask God. Ready? Hold on a second. It's coming. Okay. So with restorative, you're going to want to, the action item is to identify one problem to solve and get permission to offer a solution before acting. That's in there. An unhelpful belief is that I need to fix everything to be valuable. A helpful belief is asking permission and working together creates better solutions and relationships. So that's you doing your part. When you're trying to influence others, you want to collaborate on solutions, showing the value of teamwork and problem solving. That's how you influence others. But when you ask God for insight into when to step in and when to step back.
Okay.
So that's a good one. Right now, God, when should I step in and when should I step back?
Okay. So that helps for this week.
For the
Thank
thing that you're focusing on, yes. Ask God, when do I step in and when do I step back?
But you're only choosing one of those strengths to work with.
Consciously. You're going to use all of them, but I'm asking you to focus on one consciously. It would not be practical to ask you to focus on all 10 at the same time.
Right.
So you focus on one and the others kind of make their way in.
Okay.
Now, again, this is not an in-depth training. This is a helpful training. So all the concepts, if you want to master this, that's what my certification program is for. That's where you do an all-encompassing mastering. This is for me, the best way to learn this is to also teach it. So you'll get to do that too. So if you're interested in that, Kelia, let me know and we can talk.
Okay. I'm interested. I'm just not sure. I think you have to be more emotionally stable yourself at the time. Right or wrong?
Well, that's a very energetic statement. I don't know that that's 100% true. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just don't know if that's 100% true.
Okay.
Because the certification program could contribute to emotional stabilization.
Okay.
Well, look at the the heads are nodding around you right now. I don't know if you're seeing this.
I agree with that. A lot of healing through the certification program for me.
Yeah. I'll give you an example. One of the things that I've learned that causes emotional destabilization is the belief that you can't. It's just a belief that you can't. Like, here we go, follow me. I can't stabilize my emotions because I am out of control. And that means I can't promise anything to anyone because I don't know what I could do or not do. I'm just totally throwing that out in the open out there, Kelia. Am I at least 80% close on this one?
Closer to 90.
Okay. So when we operate from an I can't, which is totally normal, right? And it's not because there's something wrong with us. It's mostly because it's how we've been trained. Deb Lewis, just so you're aware, is former military. In fact, she's a former colonel. Well, I don't know. Colonels never stop being colonels. I'm betting, right, Deb? No. Okay, there you go. So Deb's a colonel, right? And Deb knows, like anybody else, is that when you want to get good at something, it's about practice, repetition, over and over again. Which means whatever we're really good at, it's only we're good at because we practiced it. And that means saying things like, I can't. Right? So in my certification program, I teach what's called unleashing. And unleashing is where we write down this I can't statement, right? Linda, Mona, you've been through this. I can't stabilize my emotions because I am out of control. And that means I can't promise anything to anyone. I can't show up for anyone or anything. So when we do that, we just go ahead and fall right in alignment with whoever the identity of someone who would believe that is. And by the way, Kelia, you are not alone. Anybody, ladies here, please raise your hand if you've ever had this thought. There it is, right? So you're not alone. So when we think that, or we say it, or feel it subconsciously even, it literally dictates our actions, which only serve to keep it there, right? I'll give you a great example. My wife used to, for some reason, she had in her head she wanted a white BMW. And she would visualize herself getting a white BMW. And she's like, oh my gosh, white BMW. And what would happen? She would see white BMWs everywhere. And then one day, many years ago, we got a white BMW. And it was amazing. It was wonderful. We had it for 3 years on a lease. And as soon as we were done, about 2 months before we were done, we made friends with a couple of people who had Jeeps. And they all had the top down and all this stuff. And they showed us what it's like to go up in the mountains and here in Utah and Jeep. And they taught us this thing called Jeep yoga, where you drive through the canyons with the top completely down and you just suck in the energy of this beautiful canyons as you're driving through. And then Angela was like, I want a Jeep. She wanted a red Jeep. And guess what she started seeing everywhere, Kelia?
A red Jeep.
everywhere, constantly. Was she manifesting red Jeeps? No. She just trained her mind to see them. And so because she saw red Jeeps and she stopped seeing white BMWs, the white BMW disappeared and a red Jeep appeared. And all of a sudden, we got in our garage a red Jeep. And we're actually planning on keeping it because we don't want anything else. We just keep seeing red Jeeps everywhere we go. We love it. It's a wonderful thing, and it's not going anywhere. When that lease is up, we're just going to keep it. And so what does that mean? Is that we let go of the white BMW belief system. I can't emotionally stabilize because I'm out of control, and that means I can never show up for anyone or anything. We let go of it and started visualizing something different. And in this case, we turn I can't into I can. And it works like this. I can stabilize my emotions. I can. I can stabilize my emotions. And we change because into even though. I can stabilize my emotions, even though I am emotionally unstable.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, yes, look at that. Yes, a red Jeep just appeared, right? I can stabilize emotions, even though I am emotionally unstable. Because, see, being emotionally unstable doesn't mean you can't stabilize your emotions.
No, this too shall pass.
Oh,
But
yeah, look at you,
but it's
right?
just at this point,
This point, what?
at this point, do I have it in me to do what I've got to do?
So,
To
do I
do
have it in me? You
to
either
have
do
to
or you
meet
don't.
that commitment, to meet that commitment.
Right. So I can, let me finish and then I'll help you see this. So I can stabilize my emotions, even though I'm emotionally unstable. And that means I can make my commitments. I can show up for me and others because I can stabilize my emotions, even though I am emotionally unstable. What you're doing is you're allowing yourself the opportunity to find a red Jeep because they're everywhere. They're everywhere. You just didn't see them because you were focusing on white BMWs. And by the way, Keely, you are not alone. Everybody here has got their white BMW that they're still believing can only exist until one day someone comes along and says, "Well, what if you turn that around and said I can, even though you're emotionally unstable?" So what you can do is say, "All right, I can stabilize my emotions even though I am emotionally unstable, and that means I can do something. I can show up for myself or others." Which makes you start to ask the big question. And this is my favorite question. You're probably asking it right now. And the question is, but Eddie, how? Right, Kelia? How?
Right.
How can I get a red Jeep when all I see are white BMWs everywhere? There are no red Jeeps, Eddie. I only see white BMWs. How could I possibly get a red Jeep? First thing is, well, I can see a red Jeep even though I see white BMWs all over the place. And that means I will be in a red Jeep. So, how is my favorite question.
Okay.
Guess why?
Why?
Because the answer is your strengths, but only 100% of the time. Ready? What's your number 5?
Context.
I can stabilize my emotions, even though I am emotionally unstable. And that means I can do things that people can depend on. Have you ever been emotionally unstable and still delivered for someone in the past?
Yes.
Yes, there it is. So context is the past. All I got to do now is look in the past and go, hey, wait a minute. I was able to do that. And I was emotionally unstable then. I still showed up. What's your number 1 strength?
Input.
Input. Hey, I can be emotionally stable even though I'm emotionally unstable. And that means I'll be able to deliver when it's needed. Input. I can ask questions. I can gather information. I can look for my resources. I am resourceful. Is that true, Kelia?
Mm-hmm.
I can focus on the past and I can be resourceful. Strength number 3, or strength number 2.
Restorative.
I can fix what can be fixed. And I can ask God to allow me to know the difference between what I can and what I can't. I can focus on the past where it's proof I have been able to deliver even though I've been emotionally unstable, and I can be resourceful. That's 3 strengths. Do you start to see possibility?
Mm-hmm.
Strength number 4.
Strength number 4. Strength number 3 is learner.
Oh, strength number 3, excuse me. Strength number 3,
Number 4.
learner. I can learn how to be emotionally stable, even though I am emotionally unstable. Is that true, Kelia?
Yes.
Yeah. Strength number 4.
Developer.
I can cheer myself on and be a part of other people's development at the same time. Is that true?
Yes.
Yes. Are you starting to see more possibility?
I'm going to rewatch this and write them all down.
That's 5 strengths. Guess what? You have like 8 more. Imagine what would happen if you start to bring in number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10. What do you think is going to happen?
Things will change.
Red Jeeps everywhere. Okay, here's some more. Let's make it more fun. What's your 34th strength?
34. Futuristic, and I
I
am
don't
that.
have to. Yeah, there it is. Here we go. I don't have to have a vision of the future.
Mm.
Say it out loud. I don't have to. I don't have to. I don't have to have a vision of the future. Strength number 33.
Discipline.
I don't have to be structured or routine. Say that out loud.
I don't have to be structured or routine. And see, that's another thing. With something of a system like you have, you're committed.
Ah, and I can't commit. Is that true?
I have a hard time with that.
I can commit. I can commit even though I have a hard time with that. And that means I can show up on time. Is that true?
That's true. I
Yeah.
can show up
How
on
do we
time.
know that? Because we know we've already gone through 5 reasons. I have shown up in the past, even though I struggle with commitment. I've committed in the past. Yeah. Even though I've been emotionally unstable, I've still shown up
Yep.
when it's important, right?
Right.
Yeah. I still can be resourceful, even though I'm not structured or routined. Right? 32, strength number 32.
Command.
I don't have to be in control of everything. Say it out loud.
I don't have to be in control of everything.
I don't have to be structured and routined.
I don't have to be structured or routine.
I don't have to have a vision of the future.
And I don't have to have a vision of the future.
Yeah, I don't have to. Doesn't mean you can't or you should. It just means I don't have to. What are you feeling when you say I don't have to?
Tense.
Why?
Why? I don't like the words you don't. You don't. You don't. You're supposed to be able to do things.
Oh, I'm supposed to be able to do what?
Whatever you really put your mind to.
Okay.
And that's why I don't like this turmoil, because it's limiting.
Yeah.
But we'll get through it.
Yeah, I don't have to is supposed to be a releasing. Doesn't mean I can't, I shouldn't. It just means I don't have to. Required. This is what the certification program is about. It's about mastering these concepts.
Okay, well, we'll talk
Okay.
about it.
Oh, this kid's setting off fireworks. Thanks. All right. Okay, friends. Practical strengths. Hopefully you all enjoyed this, got some great results from this, or get some help, some steps. Once again, Kalia, thank you for showing up. Mona and Deb, thank you for showing up. Appreciate you all. Feel free to unmute, say goodbye. We'll see you all on the next Unleash Your Strengths Roundtable.
Bye, Eddie.
Bye, Eddie. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.